A topic every parent is always worried about approaching. When should you raise the sex talk with your child? And oh my goodness, how do you raise this and explain the birds and the bees? As parents, we try and not expose our children to things they don't need to while they are young. And we do whatever we can to avoid explaining things that our children don't need to for as long as possible. Our biggest problem is we avoid things for longer than we should. Or do we? I will explain some ideas later on in the video on how to brace the subject that could make it easier at different age groups, so stick around until the end to get these useful tips. When our children are in our homes and still very small, we know what they're exposed to, and we know the subject is safe to keep from them as long as they are not needing to get this information. However, once they are mingling with other children, and we are not talking about kindergarten, nursery school ages, as these children are still very innocent, and I say this with a big caveat. I'm referring to the age of first and second grade children. Yes, believe it or not, kids are starting to get wise to this topic. I was amazed at this myself. This makes them 7 or 8 years of age, so don't think they are oblivious to the world around them, because you will be fooling only yourself on this. It only takes one child at the school to start talking and the others will start questioning. You need to ask yourself, as a parent, do you want your child to hear a version of sex from another 7-year-old in their language or what they understand it to be? Or would you like them to hear it from your point of view, your child's parent? Do you want your child to learn the subject through friends of their age, under 10? Or would you like to manage this information with the truth? What happens if they hear a version of sex where it's violent or one-sided, or the man takes charge, or woman has no say, or it's something to be disgusted, or worse, that anyone should be doing it? If you, as parents, are able to explain the simple biology as quick as possible to a child, and believe me, with my experiences, boys get this very easily, but girls take the shock a little bit more. They can't believe their fathers did this to their mothers, and they can get a little tearful for a moment. More on that later. Once the general biology is explained and over, you explain as parents what sex is about, and that it's for adults, and it is about love, and it shows the appreciation between two people when no one should ever be forced or pressured into this, as it's an action taken between two adults agreeing to take their relationship to a different level that adults can understand. By going through, you are explaining whether you have a daughter or a son, the level of maturing sex requires. And this is that it requires consent, love, and adoration for the other person. But hearing this as such a young age, it entrenches the idea early in their life so that they understand the value of sex, and they get the instant value that it is not dirty or disgusting, but more something of value that they should not waste with their own bodies. You can go further into discussion about self-respect and take this further, but I would suggest keeping it short and to the point on the first discussion, and raising the point when they bring it up again, because you have opened the discussion for later. You will either sense that they have started talking about this at school, or they will come to you and ask you about this. My son came and asked me at the young age, and if you brush them off, they will go and ask someone else. Ask yourself, do you want them getting their answers from someone else, or do you want them hearing it from you? Just because you are uncomfortable talking about it with your child, you brought this child into the world. Don't you owe them this information? Many parents think that they can learn this basic biology at school, but sadly, this information is learned much later in their schooling career, and by then, roughly around the 7th or 8th grade, they have already had their own versions of sex, or worse, they've had their own experiences of it by then. Yes, really. You need to prepare your child much sooner. And as we know, with the media, the social media we have, and the simple lack of self-respect our children have for themselves nowadays, we need this to be instilled more and more, and earlier to understand they have more value. Your biggest role in this chapter of their life is explaining that sex is wonderful when it is right and when they are old enough. They should know that it is not something passed around school like a USB stick, and that it is something to be respected, whether from a girl's point of view, it is theirs and not to be shared, or from a boy's point of view, to be handed around. Always encourage your child to talk about the subject and never keep the topic taboo, as this is when things happen and you cannot help them. As your child gets older, they should be able to come to you about these subjects, but if you haven't kept this door open, then they don't have you to trust and talk to about this. And when the real tough experiences happen, then what? Once the teenage years come about, and with our horrendous cell mobile phones that our children have, there are the joys of these naked pictures that start appearing on the net. Our teen girls and boys have the need to send naked pictures of themselves to the boys. They like to ask for these pictures, and these pictures are out there for viewing or sharing, and these can't be taken back. We need to let these children understand that once these pictures are released, it is the same as posting that photo on a billboard on the motorway, highway. Ask them if they would do that. Would they put a photo of themselves on a billboard? If they wouldn't, then don't send that photo. It is that simple. Or the guy with no face and they actually think that does something for a girl. Moms, dads, please teach your boys that this does nothing for anyone viewing these pictures, and remind your sons not to send these pictures, please. They're just not what people want to see. As previously said, my son is now 20, and over the years he has received photos of this nature, and he would never let me see them, and this is due to his ethical nature. He never let anyone see these pictures, and when him and that said girlfriend broke up, he would delete the photos so that these photos would never get out to anyone. Now that is the man my son is, having honor towards these girls he dated over the years. But I can guarantee that a lot of men are not like this, and when there is a breakup, these pictures are shared with everyone. I'm generalizing. Coming back to the biological discussion of sex, you need to tell your child that when a man and a woman have sex, this is when a baby is made. If you go to how I worded the previous section, it was specifically to how adults show love and behave, but it didn't specify the genders. But with this part, we need to be specific with regards to how babies are made, saying there is a sperm and an egg from both genders coming together to create a baby that grows in the mommy's tummy. Remember, this is biology, and keep it biological. Whether there was adoption, surrogacy, two moms, two dads, or mom and dad, the biology is the same. Keep the biology to the facts, and if there's something you want to explain, this is the perfect time to raise it and discuss it. No secrets, because remember, children are not stupid. Just a reminder, if you are getting value from this video, hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell to get alerts for more videos like this, as this does help me out a lot too. So, addressing the biological topics at the ages of 7 or 8, by now you should be referring to body parts by their natural names. And if not, please do so, as your child is going to learn these soon. Don't give them baby names. I am wording this very carefully so I don't get censored by YouTube. But you need to use your biology facts and say that the male part goes inside the lady part, and there is movement, and there is a liquid that comes out, which is referred to, and give the name. This mixes with the egg inside the lady, and the baby starts to grow inside. You can also show pictures of a baby growing inside the womb if a child is interested, and you can go and explain this on how they grow. Depending on the age, at the age of 7 or 8, this would be about enough factual information they would need for now, and no images would be needed from a boy's perspective. But from a girl's perspective, especially on her, depending on her relationship with her father, she could get upset, as she didn't but think her mother could let her father do this. But it's easy to settle her by simply saying If we didn't do this, we wouldn't have you, my girl. We did this because we love each other and we wanted you. And that sentiment always settles her young mind. As these children grow, they might start getting more curious and ask more questions. And because you were so honest and open, they come back to you with more questions. And knowing you gave them the truth the first time, they won't hesitate to ask again. Keep the line of communication open from day one, and you won't regret this throughout their life. If you want to drop a comment, please do, as I do respond, and I'm always happy to discuss topics that you would like to suggest. Appreciate you watching, and remember to like and subscribe. See you next time.